Today's experience was sent to us from the heart of Iran. This sister struggled for many days before deciding to share this experience because she feared negative responses from viewers, as well as those who might try to track her down because of the deep secrets she wants to reveal. However, through the instruction and guidance of the Holy Spirit, she decided to come forward and share her experience. Kindly watch this video until the end. Please tell us where you are watching this experience from so that we can connect with and pray for you. Thank you. I will now begin sharing this experience. My name is Zahra. I am a Christian woman from Iran. Before I tell you what I saw, I want to first say something that is breaking my heart. To every Christian across this whole world, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. Your prayers, they are keeping us alive. They are keeping us strong. Every single day in Iran, the persecution is getting worse. The persecution is getting harder for the household of faith. Our brothers and sisters, they are suffering. They are being arrested. They are being beaten. Some of them are losing their lives because they believe in Jesus. And I know that many of you are praying for us. You are praying every day. You are asking God to protect us, to strengthen us, to give us courage. Please do not get tired of praying. Please never stop. Your prayers, they are like water to someone who is dying of thirst in the desert. Your prayers are holding us up. They are keeping the church alive in this place where darkness is so heavy, so thick, you can almost touch it with your hands. I am asking you now, with tears in my eyes, please keep praying for the church in Iran. Keep praying for believers who are going through so much pain. Keep praying for families who are broken because someone they love was taken away. Keep praying for children who are growing up without their parents. The persecution is real. It is happening right now. And your prayers, they matter. They matter so much more than you know. For a long time, for many years actually, I have been someone who keeps things to herself. When I have a spiritual experience, when something happens to me that is from God, I do not talk about it. I keep it inside. I do not share it with others. Do you know why? Because I have seen what happens when people share their experiences. I have watched it happen so many times. Someone will have an experience. They will tell others what God did for them, what God showed them. And then what happens? People will listen, but they will not really understand. They will try to understand using their own knowledge, their own thinking. They will try to fit what happened into their own small box of what they know. And because it does not fit, they will criticize it. They will say it is not true. They will say it is imagination. They will say it is not from God. And the worst part? These people, they do not even try to ask the Holy Spirit if it is true or not. They do not pray. They do not ask God to confirm if what was said is real. They just judge it with their own mind. They just reject it with their own understanding. So I have always said, I will not do this. I will not share my experiences. I will keep them between me and God. That is what I decided. That is what I have always done. I had an experience that was so clear, so specific, with dates and times and details that I could not ignore it. What I saw was not just for me. What I saw was for people I do not even know. It was for a nation I do not live in. It was for the household of faith, for believers everywhere who need to know what is coming. And that is when Jesus made it clear to me that I could not keep this to myself. He showed me that I must speak. I must tell people what he showed me, even though it is hard, even though I know people will not understand, even though I know people will say I am crazy. So I am here now, breaking my own rule. I am sharing this with you. But let me be clear about something first. What I am about to tell you, it may sound like I am against my own nation. It may sound like I am betraying Iran. But this is not true. This is not about nations. This is not about politics. This is about the household of faith. This is about believers, about the Church of Jesus Christ everywhere. What I saw concerns the faith. It concerns people who believe in God. That is why I must tell you. Now let me tell you how this happened. Let me tell you how I died and what I saw on the other side. You all know that Iran has been going through a very difficult time. Many of you have seen it on the news. There have been strikes. There have been attacks. There has been so much pain and damage. Everyone knows about it. Everyone has seen what happened. My cousin, he was affected by all of this. His house was damaged. His life was turned upside down. For months, he and we have been working very hard to put things back together. We have been trying to fix what was broken. It was slow work, very slow, but we were doing it step by step. On the 13th of April, I went to visit my cousin at his house. We decided that this day we would work on some things that still needed to be fixed. There was still some construction work that was not finished. Things were still in a mess in some parts of the house. We were trying to organize, trying to put things in order. While we were working, was looking around. I was trying to see what still needed to be done. And that is when I saw something. There was a cable. It was just lying there on the ground. It was naked, without any covering. It was not connected to anything. There was no protection on it. And I looked at it and I thought in my mind, well, the electricity must not be working in this part of the house. Everything is still under construction. So there must be no current flowing through this cable. That is what I thought. That is what I believed. So I reached down. I touched the cable. The moment my hand touched it, everything changed. It was like my whole body was on fire. The pain was so sharp, so fast, I could not even scream. My body went stiff. I could not move. I could not breathe. All I could feel was electricity running through every part of me, burning me from inside out. It happened so fast. It happened in just a moment. And then, before I could even understand what was happening, before help could come, before anyone could do anything, I was gone. I was out of my body. The first thing I saw was my cousin. He was standing there, and he saw what happened. He saw me collapse. His face, his expression changed so fast. First it was shock, then it was fear, then it was determination. He came to me and he started trying to revive me. He was pushing on my chest. He was trying to give me breath. He was doing everything he knew how to do. I could see him. I was watching him from outside my body. I could see the desperation on his face. I could see him trying so hard to save my life. I could see the effort in his body, the way his hands were shaking, the way his eyes were filled with tears. And then he did something. He picked me up. I felt his hands grip my body. It was not gentle. It was desperate. He held me tight against his chest, and I could feel his heart pounding. It was beating so fast, so hard, like it was going to burst out of his body. He was moving fast, running almost. His feet were making heavy sounds on the floor as he moved through the house. He was holding me tight, and he was shouting. He was shouting on top of his voice, calling for help. The sound of his voice was echoing through the rooms. It was loud and so filled with panic and desperation. He was running out of the house, and his voice was so loud, so desperate, crying for someone to help him. He was screaming for neighbors. He was screaming for anyone who could hear him. His voice was breaking with emotion. I could hear the tears in his voice, even though I was already separated from my body. That is the last thing I saw before everything around me changed. That is the last image I have of the physical world before I entered into something completely different. I saw his face, twisted with fear and desperation. I saw his arms holding my body. I saw him running out into the street, his mouth open, screaming for help. That image stayed with me for a moment, and then it disappeared. Suddenly, the whole scene around me transformed. It was like I was in a different place completely. The change was so sudden, so complete, that it took my breath away, even though I was not breathing. One moment I was in my cousin's house in Iran. The next moment I was somewhere else entirely. I was no longer in my cousin's house. I was no longer in Iran. I was somewhere that I did not recognize. I did not know where I was. I was confused and disoriented. I did not know how to describe what I saw, but I will try because it is important. In front of me, there was what looked like a forest. That is the only word I can use. It looked like a forest with trees and plants and nature all around. The trees were tall and green. The plants were growing everywhere. The air felt fresh, like the air in a forest after it has rained. But that is not what was strange. What was strange was that I was standing in a place where I could see beyond the forest. Behind the forest, or maybe through it, I could see buildings. I could see structures. They were not like normal buildings that people live in. They looked different from anything I had ever seen before. They looked hidden. They looked like they were meant to be seen by only certain people. They looked like they were secret. No one was supposed to know about them. They were hidden away, protected, kept from the eyes of the public. I was confused. I did not understand what I was looking at. The mixture of the forest and the hidden buildings made no sense to me. Why would there be a forest in front of hidden buildings? Why would someone hide buildings in this way? So I tried to focus. I tried to look more carefully at these structures. I tried to understand what they were. My eyes concentrated on them. My mind tried to process what I was seeing. And as I looked, as I concentrated my eyes on them, something happened. It was like I was being pulled forward, or maybe I was moving forward. I do not know which. The sensation was strange. I do not know if I was walking or if I was being pulled. But the distance between me and the buildings was getting smaller. I was getting closer to them. I was moving toward them, whether by my own will or by some force I could not tell. Suddenly, I found myself right in the middle of these buildings. I was no longer outside looking in. I was inside, surrounded by them. The buildings were all around me now. They were massive, they were tall, they were imposing. I could see them on all sides of me. I could see the walls of these buildings. I could see the structures and the systems that made them work. But at the same time, I was confused because I was still in this place that seemed to be partly outside, partly underground. The buildings seemed to go both up and down at the same time. But then I realized something that made my heart drop. What I was seeing was only the top part of something much, much bigger. It was like looking at the tip of an iceberg. I had heard stories about icebergs, how most of the ice is hidden beneath the water and only a small part shows above the surface. That is what this was like. There was so much more underneath. Much, much more. As I came closer to these buildings, as I looked more carefully, as I allowed my eyes and my mind to adjust to what I was seeing, I began to see that beneath them, deep underground, there was a massive world. There were tunnels, lots of them. There were rooms, rooms upon rooms, going down, going deeper and deeper. There were systems and structures that I could not even comprehend. They went down so far I could not see the bottom. I could not see where they ended. The depth of it was almost impossible to understand. And in all of these places, day and night, there was activity. There was no rest. There was no pause. There were people working. There were machines running. There was something happening all the time, constantly without stopping. The activity was continuous. It never seemed to stop. I could feel the vibration of it. I could sense the energy of it. Something was always being done. Something was always being created or processed or prepared or moved from one place to another. I felt drawn to explore. I felt like I needed to understand what I was seeing. So I started to walk around. I started to explore what I was seeing. My feet were moving through these tunnels. My eyes were taking in everything around me. In some areas, I saw people dressed like engineers. They were wearing special clothes, special hats. The clothes were like uniforms, but more technical. The hats protected their heads. They were working on machines. These machines were very complex, very technical. I did not know what they were. I could not tell what they did. The machines looked like things I had never seen before. They had parts and components that I could not recognize. But I could see that these engineers were very focused on their work. They were not distracted. They were not talking to each other. They seemed very serious. They seemed like they were working on something that was very important. Something that could not fail. Something that had to be done perfectly. But then I was shown another area. This was different from the area with the engineers. In this area, there were people dressed like scientists. Actually, they were scientists. I could tell by the way they dressed. They wore white coats. They wore glasses for protection. I could tell by the way they worked. They were precise. They were careful. They were methodical. I could tell by the equipment around them. There were machines and instruments that I recognized as scientific equipment. They were all working very hard on something. They were mixing things. They were testing things. They were writing things down. They were recording their results. I could see them working with very small substances. They were working with things that were so tiny, you could barely see them with the naked eye. They were being very careful. This was very precise work. This was dangerous work. This was work that required concentration and attention to detail. I could see them mixing liquids. I could see them creating compounds. I could see them testing these compounds on different things. I could see them observing the results. They were writing everything down. They were recording every detail. And I understood, though no one told me, just understood, that this was the area where things were being created. This was the place where things were being made. This was where the ideas were becoming real. This was where the plans were becoming substance. This was where the intention was becoming reality. Whatever they were making, whatever they were creating, it was being made here. It was being developed here. It was being tested here. And then, once it was ready, it was being packaged and prepared for its purpose. Now, what I am about to tell you, this is the reason why I was sent to share this experience. This is the main reason why Jesus showed me all of this. I want you to listen very carefully to what I am about to say. I want you to pay close attention, because what I am about to reveal is not just about me. It is about people that I do not know. It is about a nation that is not my nation. It is about events that will affect billions of people. This is serious. This is important. This is real. To anyone who is watching this and who lives in America, I need you to pay very close attention. I need you to listen to what I am about to tell you. I need you to take this seriously, because what I saw in this place, it is directly connected to America. It is about your nation. It is about your people. It is about your future. It is about what is going to happen to you and to your country. Please listen. Please hear what I am saying. While I was exploring these underground structures, while I was walking through the tunnels and observing what was happening, I came to a room. This room was different from the others. This room was filled with goods. Everything in this room was packed in cotton. The packing was very careful, very professional. I could see that whoever packed these things knew what they were doing. The cotton was wrapped layer after layer. It looked like things that were being prepared to be shipped somewhere. It looked like things that were valuable. It looked like things that had to arrive safely. It looked like things that had to arrive without any damage. And on the door of this room, on the outside, there was something written. It said, "Final Destination America." and then it listed 2 states. 2 specific states were written there. I read the names. I saw them clearly. I understood what they meant. When I saw this, I was confused. Many questions came to my mind immediately. My head was spinning with questions. Why only these 2 states? Why not all of America? What about all the other states in America? There are 50 states in America. Why would only 2 of them be targeted? Why are these 2 states special? Why are only these 2 places being targeted? What makes them different? What makes them the target? I did not understand. I was thinking about this. I was trying to understand why. I was searching for the answer in my mind. And then I saw something else. I was distracted from my questions by what I saw next. I saw another room. This room was also filled with things. But these things looked different from the things in the first room. These things looked like seeds, very tiny seeds, mustard seeds, I think. I have seen mustard seeds before. These looked like them. They were so small, they were packed so carefully in this room. Box after box, layer after layer, box after box. From the bottom of the room to the very top, the room was completely filled. From floor to ceiling, there was nothing else in this room but these boxes of seeds. It looked like there were millions of them. It looked like there were billions of them. The quantity was massive. And on the door of this room, it also said Final Destination America. And it listed 2 more states, 2 different states this time. Different from the first room, I became even more confused. Now there were 2 rooms. Now there were 4 states mentioned, all in America. Why so many? What is the purpose of all of this? Why are these items being sent to America? Why these states? Why these quantities? Why is someone going to so much trouble to send these things to America? I was standing there looking at these rooms, trying to understand. My mind was racing with questions. And something was strange about the situation. The people in this place, they were moving around, they were working, they were focused on their tasks, but none of them seemed to notice me. None of them looked at me. None of them asked me any questions. It was like I was invisible to them. They could not see me. They did not know I was there. I was standing right in front of them sometimes, but they did not react. They did not acknowledge me. They did not ask who I was or what I was doing there. It was very strange. It was like I was a ghost. But then something happened. I felt someone watching me. I felt eyes on me. The feeling was strong. It was unmistakable. I could feel it. Someone was watching me. I looked around and I saw a man. He was standing at a distance, but not too far. He was standing in a way that showed he was deliberately watching me. He was looking at me very carefully. He was looking at me with eyes that could see me. That was strange because everyone else could not see me. But this man, he could see me clearly. I could feel it. I could see it in his eyes. His eyes were fixed on me. He was not looking away. He was not distracted. He was watching me intently. This man, he looked like he was maybe 30 years old. He had a middle-aged appearance, though I say 30 years. I do not know how to describe age in this place. Time seemed different. Everything seemed different. But he had a mature look. He was not young and he was not old. He was somewhere in between. He was dressed in simple clothes. They were not like the clothes of the engineers. They were not like the clothes of the scientists. They were just simple clothes. But there was something about him. There was something about his presence that was different from everyone else in this place. There was an authority about him. There was a power about him. Even though he was dressed simply, even though he looked ordinary, there was something that made him stand out. There was something that made him different. He began to move toward me. He started walking toward me slowly. His pace was not hurried. He was not running toward me. He was not rushing. He was walking deliberately, purposefully toward me. Each step was intentional, and as he came closer, something happened inside me. Something shifted inside my spirit. I knew who he was. I did not need him to say anything. I did not need him to introduce himself. I just knew. I knew it in my spirit. This was Jesus. This was the Son of God. This was the one I had read about in the Bible. This was the one I had believed in. This was the one I had prayed to. This was him. How did I know? Let me tell you. There were 2 things that were distinctive about him. First, there was his eyes. When I looked at his eyes, I saw something that I have never seen before in any human being that I have ever encountered. I saw love. I saw pure, deep, endless love. It was overwhelming. It was like looking into the eyes of someone who loves you more than anything in the world, more than life itself. His eyes were filled with compassion and understanding. They were filled with something that was not of this world, that was not earthly, that was not human, that was divine. His eyes showed me that he knew everything about me. He knew every mistake I had made. He knew every sin I had committed. He knew every doubt I had ever had. He knew every fear I carried. He knew everything. And yet, despite all of that, his eyes showed me only love, only acceptance, only grace. That was the first thing that told me who he was. That was the first sign. I could not deny it. I could not question it. I knew. Second, there was a light around him. Not a bright light that hurt your eyes. It was not like looking at the sun. It was not blinding. but a light that was warm, that was gentle, that seemed to come from inside him. It was like the light that comes from a very deep place inside the soul. It was the light of someone whose spirit is completely pure, completely holy. The light seemed to emanate from within him. It was not something external. It was not something that was being cast on him from outside. It was coming from him. It was coming from his very being. It was not the light of the sun. It was not the light of any lamp or any source that I could understand. It was not artificial. It was not created by anything. It was a different kind of light. It was the light of holiness. It was the light of God. It was the light of divinity. It was the light of eternity. When I saw this light, I knew without any doubt that this was Jesus Christ. This was the Son of God. This was the one who created everything. This was the one who loves humanity. This was the one who died for our sins and rose again. He came to me and he stopped in front of me. He was standing right in front of me now. I could see his face clearly. I could see his expression. He did not say anything at first. He just looked at me. His gaze was penetrating. His eyes were looking into me. They were looking through me. They were seeing everything, and I felt known. I felt completely and totally known by him. There was no hiding. There was no pretense. There was nothing to hide behind. He saw me as I was. He saw my soul. He saw my heart. He saw everything. And then he began to speak. His voice was calm. His voice was steady. His voice was clear. He began to reveal to me the meaning of everything I had seen. He told me that the name America that I had seen written on those doors, it was very clear what it meant. It meant exactly what it said. It meant that America is the nation that is on current target. America is the nation that has been chosen, that has been selected for what is coming. The things I saw in those rooms, they are meant for America. They are going to be sent to America. They are going to be delivered to America. They are going to arrive in America. That is what the name meant. It was not mysterious. It was not hidden. It was clear. America was the target. Then he explained to me about the 2 states that were written on the first room, the one with the packed goods. He told me that these 2 states are the core target. These are the places where the evil acts, the evil actions are going to begin to take hold. These are the places where it is going to start. These are ground zero. These are the epicenter. And the reason he revealed to me, the reason why these 2 particular states are chosen, it is because of specific things that are tied to those locations. There are specific reasons. There are specific connections. These places have something special that makes them the target. Something about their geography, something about their population, something about their position, something about their role in the nation. There are specific reasons that these states have been selected. He did not tell me what those reasons were, but he made it clear that they were specific. They were strategic. They were chosen deliberately. And then he revealed something very important. He told me that what begins in these 2 states will only last for 3 weeks. Only 3 weeks. It will be contained to these states for 3 weeks. But after 3 weeks, it will spread. It will not stay in those 2 states. It will go to other states. It will spread across all of America. State by state, city by city, town by town. It will keep spreading until every part of America is affected. And then it will go beyond America. It will spread across the globe. It will spread to other countries. It will spread to other continents. It will spread everywhere. And within 2 months, he said there will be a global lockdown. The whole world will be locked down. Every nation, every country, every region. Everyone will be told to stay inside. Everyone will be isolated. Everyone will be afraid. I was listening to him, and I was trying to understand. I was trying to take in everything he was saying. My mind was struggling to process all of this information. It was so much. It was so big. It was so devastating. And then he began to show me, through visions, how these things were going to happen. He showed me the ways that the items in those rooms were going to be smuggled into America. He showed me the secret ways they would enter the nation. He showed me the process. He showed me the plan. For the first room, the one with the packed goods, he revealed to me that what was inside those boxes was drugs. But these were not ordinary drugs. These were not like the drugs that people use for recreation. These were not like the drugs that are illegal. These were drugs that had been created in a laboratory. They were manufactured. They were designed. They had something mixed into them. They had a virus mixed into them. A virus that was developed with a very specific intention. The intention was deliberate. The intention was planned. The intention was to put this drug into many pharmaceutical shelves in America. The intention was to make it available to doctors so that doctors would prescribe it to patients. The intention was to make it seem like medicine. The intention was to make it seem like healing. But it was the opposite. It was poison. It was death. It was destruction. He showed me how this would work. He showed me the entire process. The drugs would be prescribed by medical personnel, by doctors and nurses who are coordinated for this purpose. These medical people, they would be part of the plan. They would know what they were doing, or they would not know. They would prescribe this drug to patients who came to them seeking help, seeking a solution to their problems. People who were sick, people who were suffering, people who wanted to feel better. The patients would take this drug, and then, after just 2 days, something would start to happen to them. They would begin to have symptoms. They would begin to feel sick. They would begin to experience problems in their body. They would not understand what was happening. They would not know why they were getting worse instead of better. And here is the thing that is so evil about this plan. No one would trace it back to the hospital. No one would know that the hospital was the source. No one would blame the doctors. Because who would believe that a hospital, a place that is supposed to heal people, would prescribe something that would harm them? No one would believe that. Hospitals are supposed to be places of healing. Doctors are supposed to help people. People trust hospitals. People trust doctors, so no one would suspect them. No one would think that they were responsible. So even when the patients went back to the hospital, even when they went to the doctors asking what was happening to them, asking what was wrong, the doctors would not be able to trace it. They would run tests. They would try to figure out what was wrong. Even when they did tests, even when they looked carefully, it would be very hard to detect the cause of the sudden decline in the patient's health. The test would not show the virus. The test would not show the drug. The test would not show what was really happening. He showed me how this virus, how this drug, would take over the body system. It would attack from the inside. It would destroy things slowly, piece by piece. It would damage the organs. It would damage the systems. It would damage the mind. It would make it so that people could not move easily. It would make it so that people could not do their daily activities. It would make it so that they became weaker and weaker every day. People would become bedridden. People would become unable to work. People would become unable to take care of themselves. People would become dependent on others. And because of this, because so many people would start getting sick, the hospitals would begin to fill up. More and more people would come to the hospitals. Every hospital would be overwhelmed with patients. Emergency rooms would be full. Regular rooms would be full. Hallways would be filled with beds. And within a short time, the hospitals would have no more space. They would be completely full. There would be no room for more patients. The whole system would become overwhelmed. People would be turned away. People would be told there was no room. People would be dying outside hospitals because there was no space inside. This would last for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, America would be in chaos. For 3 weeks, America would be the headline of every news body around the world. Every news station, every media outlet, every country would be talking about America. They would be showing what was happening. They would be broadcasting the scenes of hospitals overflowing. They would be showing the bodies. They would be showing the fear. And many nations, many countries, they would begin to close their borders from America. They would not want people from America to come to their country. They would be afraid of what was spreading. They would put up barriers. They would stop flights. They would cut off trade. America would be isolated. What started in those 2 states would spread to all over America. Every state would be affected. Every region would be affected. Every city would be affected. And within this time, there would be a major lockdown. The government would order a lockdown in America for 3 weeks. The intention would be to stop the spreading. The intention would be to control what was happening. People would be told to stay in their homes. Businesses would be closed. Schools would be closed. Everything would stop. But he told me it would not work. The lockdown would not stop the spreading. It would be implemented too late. The virus would already be spreading too far, too fast. The lockdown would not be able to stop it. The virus would continue to spread. More and more people would get sick. The death toll would rise. I asked Jesus when this would happen. I asked him about the dates, about the times, about when this would begin. I wanted to know. I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to warn people. But he did not give me the specific dates. He did not tell me the exact times. He did not say this will happen on this day or this will happen at this time. Instead, he told me that there would be signs. He told me that before all of this begins to happen, there would be signs that I would see. He would reveal to me 3 signs, and these signs would happen before the great happenings begin. Once these 3 signs happen, then I would know that what he showed me is about to start. When I see these 3 signs, then I would know that the time is now. So I should wait, he told me. I should wait until I see all the visions. I should wait until I receive all the information. And then after that, he would tell me the 3 signs. When I see these 3 signs, I would know what to do. I would know that the warning is about to come true. So the vision changed. A new vision opened up in front of me. This time I saw the seeds again, the tiny mustard seeds that I had seen in the second room. But this time it was different. This time the seeds were not in the underground facility anymore. This time, the seeds were in the two states that had been written on the door. The seeds were there in America, in those states. I could see them. I could see them being distributed. I could see them being given to people. But here is the thing that Jesus revealed to me. These seeds, they were not really seeds. They were vaccine. They were supposed to be used for curing the pandemic that would already be happening in the nation. The pandemic would start with the drugs from the first room. People would get sick. Hospitals would overflow. Death would spread. The government would be looking for a cure, looking for a solution. Scientists would be working frantically. Researchers would be desperate. And then the vaccine would appear. It would seem like the answer. It would seem like the solution they had been waiting for. It would seem like salvation. He showed me that the American government would accept this vaccine. I could not tell how exactly they would accept it, how they would be convinced. The vision did not show me the details of how they would be persuaded. But somehow they would be persuaded. They would decide that this vaccine is good. They would decide that this vaccine is safe. They would decide that this vaccine is necessary. And it would be recommended by the government. It would be recommended widely. People would be told to take it. Everyone would be encouraged to take it. The media would promote it. The doctors would recommend it. The government would mandate it. Everyone would be told that this is the only way to stop the pandemic. This is the only way to save lives. This is the only way to go back to normal. But here is the twist that Jesus revealed to me, and this is very important. I need you to understand this. I need you to pay close attention to this. Those who created the vaccine, the people who made it available, they are the same people who made the drug that caused the pandemic in the first place. They are the same people. They made the problem, and then they made the solution. They created both of them. They created the disease and the cure. They made the problem so that they could make the solution. They knew what would happen. They knew how people would react. They knew that people would be desperate. They knew that people would accept anything if they thought it would save their lives. Jesus revealed something very disturbing to me. The vaccine was made in this format, in this seed format, because the original intention, the original plan was different. The original plan was to inject something directly into people's bodies. But there was a problem with that plan. It was already a national challenge, especially for the body of Christ, for Christians. People would resist. Christians would refuse to take it. There would be too much resistance. People had already been warned about vaccines. People were already suspicious. People were already hesitant. So they changed the plan. They made it in this seed format, and they put it into food or into other things that people would consume without knowing. People would eat it or drink it without knowing what they were taking. People would eat the seeds and think they were eating normal food. People would consume them without suspicion. People would not know what they were ingesting. But the most disturbing thing, the thing that Jesus made very clear to me, the thing that I must tell people, the thing that I cannot keep quiet about, is this. Implanted inside these seeds, inside this vaccine, there are chips, very tiny chips. These chips are so small, so advanced, that even if the vaccine is broken down by the body, even if it is dissolved, the chips will remain. They will not dissolve. They will not break down. The chips will stick to parts of the body internally. They will be inside you. They will be embedded in your body. And the goal of these chips, Jesus told me, is control. The goal is to gain control over people who take the vaccine. The goal is to be able to control their actions. The goal is to be able to control their thoughts. The goal is to be able to control their movements. Jesus revealed to me that this vaccine would first be given in these two states that had been mentioned. But as time goes on, as more people take it, as the fear grows, other states would also start to use it. People in the body of Christ, people who are in the Spirit, they would sense something wrong about it. They would feel something is not right. They would have a knowing inside them that something is off. They would feel the Holy Spirit warning them. But with time, it would spread. It would gain wider acceptance. More people would take it. More states would implement it. And eventually, more and more people would take it. And all of those people, everyone who took it, would be under control. They would be controlled by the chips. They would be puppets. Their lives would no longer be their own. Then I asked Jesus, control by whom? Who is controlling the people? Who is behind all of this? Who is giving the commands? Who is pulling the strings? But Jesus did not answer that question directly. He did not tell me specifically who is controlling. He did not name a name. He did not identify an entity. He left that for me to understand, for me to realize through what I had seen. He wanted me to think about it. He wanted me to come to my own conclusion based on what I had witnessed. He revealed to me that the world would change after this. People would be thinking and doing things according to how they are controlled. People would be moving, speaking, working, living according to the commands that come through the chips. They would not even know that they are being controlled. They would think they are making their own choices, but they would not be. They would believe they are free, but they would not be. They would be puppets. Their actions would be controlled by someone else. Their thoughts would be guided by someone else. Their desires would be implanted by someone else. Everything would be according to the plan of whoever is controlling them. The world would look the same on the surface, but underneath, everything would be controlled. Everything would be orchestrated. Everything would be predetermined. I was trying to understand all of this. I was trying to make sense of it. I was asking myself, who is controlling the nations? Who is controlling America? Who is controlling the Christians that are in this situation? How will they protect themselves? What can they do? That is when Jesus decided to reveal something very important to me. That is when he told me about the signs. He told me that these are the times before his coming. These are the last days. These are the end times. And before these things happen, before the pandemic, before the vaccine, before the chips, before the control, before the world is brought under one system of control, the world will see 3 signs. These 3 signs, they will happen first. And when these 3 signs happen, then the other things will begin. The countdown will start. The final chapter will begin. The first sign is this. America will sign a peace deal with its longtime enemies. America has enemies that it has fought with for many years, many decades. America has opposed these enemies. America has been in conflict with these enemies. But before the big events happen, there will be a peace agreement. There will be a treaty. America will make peace with one or more of its longtime enemies. This will shock the world. Many people will not believe it. It will seem impossible. It will seem unreal, but it will happen. The enemies of America will become the friends of America. The conflicts that have lasted for generations will suddenly be resolved. The barriers that have divided nations will suddenly be broken down. That is the first sign. The second sign is this. A major figure in America will be called to glory in the month of July. A major figure, someone who is very important, someone who has influence, someone who is known. This person will die. They will be called to glory. It will happen in July. This person will be someone that many people know. This will be a significant death. This will be something that will be remembered. It will be shocking. It will be sudden. It will change the political landscape. It will change the course of nations. That is the second sign. The third sign is this. A major invention will be announced. This invention will be announced on television. It will be announced and carried out, or it will be demonstrated on American soil. It will be something new, something that people have not seen before. It will be something that will capture the attention of the world. It will be something that will be celebrated. It will be something that will be praised. And on that day, on the day when this major invention is announced and revealed, that day, all of what was shown to me will begin to happen. Gradually, it will start, but it will begin. The countdown will end. The final events will commence. The plan will go into action. All of these things, the first room with the drugs that cause sickness, the second room with the seeds that are actually vaccine with chips, the pandemic that will last 3 weeks in those 2 states and then spread to all of America, and then to the world, the lockdown, the control, the life of people being controlled by the chips in their bodies. All of this will begin. It will start after these 3 signs, and it will continue until it becomes a major pandemic affecting the whole world. It will continue until billions of people are affected. It will continue until the entire world is under control. It will continue until Jesus comes again. I was listening to all of this, and my heart was racing. I was understanding what Jesus was showing me. I was taking in what he was telling me. The weight of it was pressing down on me. The importance of it was overwhelming me. The truth of it was burning inside me. And then, suddenly, I felt something. It was like I was being pulled back. It was like I was being called back to something. It was like there was a force pulling me backward. Away from this place, away from Jesus, away from the vision. And before I could say anything, before I could ask any more questions, before I could cry out, I felt my body again. I felt the heaviness of my physical body. I felt myself coming back into consciousness. I felt the weight of my flesh. I felt the pain in my body. I felt the limitation of being trapped in skin and bone. I opened my eyes. I was in the hospital. My body was on a bed. I could hear the sounds of machines around me, the beeping of monitors, the hissing of ventilators, the sounds of hospitals. I could hear people talking. Nurses, doctors, my family. I could hear my cousin's voice. He was there beside me, and his face showed relief. So much relief, so much joy. He was so happy to see me awake. He was so happy that I was alive. He was crying. Tears were streaming down his face. He was trying to speak, but he could not find the words. The doctors came and they examined me. They were checking my vital signs. They were shining lights in my eyes. They were listening to my heart. They were surprised that I had survived. They said that I had been clinically dead for a very long time. I had been gone for more than 20 minutes, but I had come back. I was alive. I was conscious. I was aware. Against all odds, I had returned to my body. My cousin and I, we looked at each other. I could see in his eyes that something had happened. I could see that he had felt something, that he had experienced something while I was gone. There was something in his expression that told me he knew. He knew that something spiritual had happened. He knew that I had been somewhere else. He knew that this was not just a medical event, but the most important thing in my mind was the message that Jesus had given me, the message that I had to tell people, the warning that I had to share, the testimony that I had to deliver. Everything else faded away. All that mattered was the message. I know that some people will not believe me. I know that some people will think that what I experienced was just a dream, just the imagination of a brain that was without oxygen. I know that some people will say that I am crazy. I know that some people will say that I was hallucinating. I know that some people will try to explain it away with science. I know that some people will reject it completely. But I want to tell you this. What I saw was more real than anything I have ever experienced in my waking life. The details were so clear, so specific, so real that I know it was not imagination. I know it was not a dream. The experience was too vivid. The information was too detailed. The message was too important. I know that Jesus showed me these things because he loves humanity. He loves America. He loves the world. And he wants people to know what is coming so that they can be ready. He wants people to have the chance to prepare. He wants people to have the opportunity to choose. He wants people to know the truth before it is too late.